Hi there, and welcome back to Color and Scribbles. My name is Rachel, and today I'm going to tell you about my experience with a 100-day art challenge that I recently finished. This video is going to be a little bit different than most of my stuff, a little bit more personal, but hopefully you still find it useful. The challenge involved posting art on social media every day for 100 days straight, so the rules were pretty simple, and the art that you see playing here is all 100 images that I shared during that time. So with that, let's start at the beginning. So before I started this challenge, I was in a really unhealthy headspace about my personal art. I would put this pressure on myself to have all of the art that I make be like productive or useful or like level up my skills in some way, under the guise of not wanting to waste my time on art that wasn't a benefit to me. I think that this was an attitude that started to develop in college when I had like limited time and I always had homework to do, but this attitude actually often led me to make less art because I was only willing to work on things that I felt certain would contribute to, building my skills or my portfolio. And then I was also constantly struggling with the mental conflict of wanting to practice and improve my art and actually make art to improve, and also being paralyzed about figuring out what would be the most beneficial thing to work on at any given time. This was a very stressful way to think about my art, and that stress also contributed to me not making as much art as I would have liked. So this conflict is really what led me to start the challenge in the first place, in the hopes that a daily challenge would force me to figure out what to draw every day. Well, it didn't end up working out that way, at least at first. In fact, I often ended up just sharing old pieces of art instead of making something new because I couldn't figure out what would be the best thing to make, and then I would panic about it, and then I would just give up on making art for the day, for the challenge. Even during a daily drawing challenge, I was too scared to draw every day. And I felt bad when I posted old work because I knew it was kind of defeating the point of the challenge, but the desire to only make productive, useful art was stronger than this guilt. It was so frustrating that I almost quit the challenge halfway through. I was convinced that I was wasting my time, and I really wasn't happy with most of my posts. Fortunately, some friends talked me out of quitting the challenge, and I ultimately decided to stick it out just for the sake of completion. But soon after this, I discovered a few artists that made me really reconsider my whole personal art philosophy. These artists incorporated something called free play into their creation process. Sometimes they would even schedule it into their daily work. So the idea of free play is that it's a time to explore and experiment with your art completely judgment-free. And that could involve like experimenting with a new technique or an unusual subject matter, or just testing out an idea without any pressure to succeed with it. Oftentimes, this kind of practice results in like really bad art because you're trying something new and have no idea what you're doing with it. But that's kind of the idea, that's kind of the whole idea behind this idea of free play. Accepting that bad art is actually a valuable part of the process of creating and embrace that. This concept kind of blew my mind a little bit and I decided to try it out. Well, long story short, it was an amazing change for me. I soon realized that free play has all kinds of uses. It helped me generate new ideas by exploring avenues I wouldn't normally consider. It allowed me to develop old ideas that I'd been too scared to start on. And most importantly, it helped me rediscover my own enjoyment with making art. I know that sounds super cheesy, but I'm not even joking. This was the most fun I've had making art in a really long time, because it allowed me to make art not just for the sake of improving my skills, but because something sounded actually fun or silly to try. I was making art that I was actually invested in because I wasn't worried about ruining it or wasting time on it. In fact, by the end of the challenge, I had started working in a whole new medium, watercolors. I had explored several topics that I had been too scared to try before, and I also started working on the development for a big project that I thought up while working on the challenge. In the end, this challenge was tremendously impactful to me, but not in the way that I initially expected. In a way, this challenge kind of served as a transition from college to post-college artistic thinking for me. In school, I was focused on just inundating myself with as much knowledge as possible, which eventually got me locked in this mindset that I always had to create something that helps me improve my skill set. However, during the last 100 days, I started to learn that being an artist involves more than just trying to constantly level up your skills. It also involves creating an environment for yourself to flourish creatively, where your ideas won't be dampened by your own self-doubt, and where you can experiment with things that you wouldn't normally try. As an artist, there will always be more to learn, and you could spend your whole life just trying to perfect your skills. But if that isn't balanced with a healthy amount of self-discovery and artistic adventure, what are you using your skills for? There are a lot of ways to do a 100-day challenge, but if you've been feeling disconnected from your art or too intimidated to try new things, maybe try a 100-day free play challenge. Give yourself some dedicated time each day to take risks and explore ideas that you've been afraid to try, and have fun making bad art intentionally. I also want to say thanks to Robin Klontz and Furry Little Peach for turning me on to the idea of free play. They both have great YouTube channels, which I have linked in the description below, so you should check them out. I'd also love to hear your reactions to this idea of free play in art. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. If it's something that you use already, or if it's something that you think could help you, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content somewhat like this on a regular basis. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.